the West has been colonized by Zionism. And if you give me a few minutes of your time, I'll convince you of the same. First example is resource. To get resources. So before it was agriculture, it was timber, it was gold, it was fuel, all of these things. Now it's human resources and money. So Western nations will go into extensive debt to give Israel money in the Israel lobby. And in terms of human resources, we produce more data than anyone else because our data is valuable, because we buy stuff. Do you get it? They can know everything about you from your data. You have Palantir, who takes data like it's going out of business. Next is tech, new markets. We are the biggest market because they have all of our data. They've mined us as a resource. Then all they need to do is whenever they have a new tech company, they just go to the countries that they own, most of the West, and they launch this new technology in them using the data that they already have instantly. They don't need to ask. There's no permissions, there's no competition. The next one is cheap labor. And the reason this makes perfect sense is because oftentimes the labor is paid for by the government in the Western country, either through avoiding tax or through giving lobbies money or through donations, all of these things. They give you the money, and then they pay someone a very high salary within that society. Do you get it? So it doesn't cost the colonizer anything, but they get the benefit of the brain power that develops this technology. The next is trade advantages. So trade advantages means when you're selling a product, you want to be closer to the place where you're selling it. So for example, if someone was selling a product to Saudi Arabia, you'd want to colonize, for example, the UAE because you're close by. And this is perfect because the West, most Israeli products are sold to the West. You know, adult content, for example, is a big thing in their industries, as well as tech and weaponry and all of these kind of things. And the biggest military spending is all in the West. So what's better than colonizing the place which buys everything you produce? National prestige is self-explanatory. They say, look, we've got all these dogs on chains. What do you guys think? Yeah. Look, I've got this dog, you've got this dog. Now, there's two types of colonialism in this particular example. One is the one where they're trying to take over the land like it's next to them. The second, they're using for just resources. So the West is being used for resources. They're going to milk them dry. And then the next step will be that they're trying to colonize, although some people could argue they already have, colonize the places around them in order to take the actual physical land to create Greater Israel. Next is for power. So strategic advantage requires that they are able to silence their critics quickly. They are able to threaten the predators that are after them. And who better to do that with if you have the US military? If you have issues with freedom of speech like you do in the UK, anyone who talks about our enemy, Palestine, should be arrested within the colony, so on and so forth. When I say colony, I'm talking primarily, when I say the West, primarily the US and the UK. There's some European countries that just fall in by default, but these are the main two. So all of this trash that we're forced to listen to, spreading ideology, is exactly that, because we're colonized. You know, Israel has the right to defend itself. The Muslim grooming gangs, even though they're only 7% of what that kind of activity entails, with the rest being white British men. Nice, right? That's ideology spreading. Make them hate brown people, get their resources, keep them divided. You know, that's what it is. That's what spreading ideology means. The next is spreading religious ideology. So before it will be people spreading Christianity, for example. Now it's people spreading no religion. We don't want you to believe in God. We want you to be secular, because if you believe in God, or if you have certain beliefs, or if you follow a certain religion, you might have morals. You understand? We need you to be complete slaves to the system. We need you to have no thoughts. We need you to have no complaints. We need you to see anything and have no moral code and no ability to judge the situation. Makes you a perfect colonized individual. The colonizers believed they were bringing civilization to this uncivilized world. Before, it used to be they used to go to a people sitting in the desert, and they believed that these people were uncivilized just because they lived in a desert, not in a city. Now they're colonizing the people in the cities, and telling them, well, you need to understand what civilization is. Zionism is a superior race. You need to understand this. We're going to teach it to you. The same way the white man went and taught in Africa that the white race is superior. They're teaching you the same thing. It's exactly the same process. So the next two I'm going to group together. In the olden times, colonies would send convicts to other countries, just to for social control, so they don't have any bad people in the area that they're colonizing or in the area that they're living. And now it's pretty much the same. So you have Israel wanting to take over basically the entirety of the Middle East, causing enough wars, and then these people go seek asylum in the West. In all of Africa and all of the Middle East and all of these countries, that's what's going on. And then they make you hate them to make sure that you stay divided. See how that works? Here's some advice. If you understand that you're being colonized, maybe accept the people that you see as different, whose nations have been colonized previously and are no longer colonized. Do you get it? Maybe you'll be better prepared to deal with the future. Best of luck.